Anita Smith, a Salesforce certified admin and business analyst, as well as a certified Scrum Master.
I listened to this podcast, fellow podcast listener, being a Salesforce consultant and how they work 20 hours a week, make $200K a year. I think it was possible to even pivot from hospitality to tech. Yeah, certifications, build your brand. So I created a course, and it's what I wish I had when I first started. I just want to share it with other people so that they don't have to go through the same struggles, do and use, and it makes their lives better. I am a course junkie. I mean, if you want to be strategic and you know exactly where you want to go in the future, I'd say use that. But there's so many great courses out there. No one expects you to know every single thing.
That's true. I think we're good. Okay, so Anita, let me just start off with an introduction as to what the podcast is all about. So the podcast, Let's Talk Salesforcing. It's a podcast where we, Swati, invite Salesforce enthusiasts like you to join us and share your knowledge to the wider community. Right. So this is the whole idea of the podcast. And let me introduce you. So for our session today, I would like to introduce Anita Smith, a Salesforce certified admin and business analyst, as well as a certified Scrum Master. She's also the founder of Scrum in a Box, a topic that will be discussed shortly. Apart from being a Salesforce and a Scrum evangelist, Anita also volunteers as a planning committee member for the group Texas Dreamin', and also a mentor in the Trailblazer Mentorship Circle. So Anita, it's great to have you here. And I'm really excited to go ahead and start the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
All right. Okay, so to start off, Anita, I would love to know, can you share your journey towards being a Salesforce certified admin?
Sure, yeah. So I've only been in the ecosystem 3 years now. My journey started back in 2020. I used to work for a big hotel chain as a revenue manager. So the person that sets the prices and stuff. It was a big hotel downtown in Houston, Texas. And COVID happened that year. Majority of our business was group business, and we're connected to convention center. So was not a good time for us. I was one of the team members that was furloughed around, I think, March, and then finally laid off in October. So while I was furloughed, I was just trying to figure out, oh no, what do I do next? Yeah, I was like, I don't think I can stay in hospitality anymore. So I was jumping around Coursera, all the different sites, trying to pick up skills. And then I listened to this podcast, fellow podcast listener, it was on Choosify, which is a personal finance podcast. And this person goes on who talks about being a Salesforce consultant and how they work 20 hours a week, make $200K a year.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was just like, that sounds great. I want to do that.
Yes.
Yeah. So it turns out he was the founder of Talent Stacker, a Salesforce career development program. So he was just starting that up. I think I was like one of the first 10 people joined back in October 2020. And like because I didn't know anyone in tech. I didn't think it was possible to even pivot from hospitality to tech. So like I joined and kind of like step by step told me like, okay, go to Trailhead. This is what you need to study. You need to
certifications.
Certifications, build your brand. Like you got to change your LinkedIn because that's where recruiters look. Updating your resume because mine says like all hospitality stuff. And like this is how you interview for like a tech job. So fast forward to January 2021, I landed my first job as a Salesforce business analyst at Blue Sky Innovations, which is a boutique partner consultancy. They put me on a project with a big medical device company. So I worked as a Salesforce BA for that. And then it's so funny. I'm still with the same company same client,
Wow.
but they brought me back after that project ended. They brought me back as a Scrum Master for a few of their Salesforce dev teams.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
That's again an interesting, twist again in your career, turn in the career from a Salesforce certified professional to a Scrum Master. That's great.
Thank you.
And that brings me to the next question. Anita, I saw in your profile, of course, about Scrum in a box, right? I'm really curious to know about that and how it has been received so far in the Scrum community.
Yeah, so I decided to create a course because when I first started, I had no idea. I thought it was like a made-up job, and I couldn't find there's like a lot of stuff that tells you about like the framework and agile and all that stuff, but I couldn't find a lot of information on actually how to do the job.
Mm-hmm.
So I created a course, and it's what I wish I had when I first started.
Right.
So it's for people who are brand new, don't really know how things are supposed to work on a Scrum team. And there's templates and it walks you through all the ceremonies and how to run them. It's been good so far. I've gotten a lot of good feedback, and people seem to be really happy.
That's really, what you said is right. And there's a lot of information around about Scrum and Agile. And when you come to the practical sense of it, yes, it's difficult to understand how do I get started? How do I do things in a project? So yes, that's interesting to know. And of course, as a Scrum Master, a certified Scrum Master, now how do you see the intersection between Scrum practices and Salesforce implementation?
Oh, yeah. I think it's like the most used framework in most Salesforce projects. And like, it's so interesting because it doesn't have to be a technology project in order to practice Scrum, but a lot of tech companies use it. I know majority of the people, because that came up with me, practice Scrum on their teams. So I think most people do it. It's very rare that I hear about waterfall or
exactly.
I hear the term Wagile a lot. So it's waterfall and agile.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I think that's the stage when people kind of transfer from waterfall to agile and then get adjusted with agile. Yeah, you're right. You're right. That's it. What you said is exactly true. Right now all of Salesforce projects would be running in agile. So I do see how that intersection happens there. And of course, again, coming to Salesforce and your experience there in implementation and maintenance. So what are the challenges or some of the challenges that you've faced in this maintenance and implementation phase, and how have you overcome them?
Yeah, so my client is they have a very large org with, there's 30 plus different Salesforce teams.
Wow. Okay.
And of course, lots of tech debt. So they have a whole COE and people that have processes in place because it's very hard. If everyone is working in the same org. We have poker sessions and a lot of cross-team dependencies. It makes everything a lot slower, but it's the best way for us to not mess anything up in the org.
I understand. Yeah. Particularly when it comes to implementation, it is a business vision that most organizations have, and it's a big project. So yes. And as an influencer in the Salesforce community, what motivates you to share your knowledge and experiences with others?
Influencer, yeah. I don't post as much as I used to, but when I think of something that really helped me, I just want to share it with other people so that they don't have to go through the same struggles. That's pretty much my only driver, something that just helps other people. I don't like putting just, nonsense just to talk to make sure my name pops up. I want it to be something actionable that someone can actually do and use, and it makes their lives better.
Thank you, Anita. And in connection with what you said, of course, that goes back to your volunteer part as a mentor in the Trailblazer community. Of course, that plays a big part in how you give back to the community. So yes. And of course, so how do you balance staying up to date with the latest in the Salesforce ecosystem?
LinkedIn mostly. I'm also part of some Facebook groups from Talent Stacker. Like they have two, one for just the normal career development program and another one for their alumni. And I actually still keep up with my study group I formed. We meet like maybe once a month. We actually met last night. So we usually like talk about like Salesforce news, but mostly LinkedIn. As with everyone, subscribe to Salesforce, Ben.
Okay.
Yeah.
Understood. All right. And of course, again, coming to your volunteer part in the Texas Draven, being part of the planning committee, can you tell us more about the significance of that in the Salesforce community?
Yeah, so all the local community, the Dreamin' events, they're all done by usually the local Trailblazer user group leaders. And man, it's a lot of work. I can
imagine.
Yeah, it's so cool to be part of this team because everyone is very established and has been in the ecosystem forever, and it's just like great to learn how everyone works. So let's see, this was my second year. So I joined them last year, and I helped with social media and volunteers for day of, because it takes a lot of work during the conference to keep it going. And it's just like been an amazing experience so far.
Thank you, Anita. That was great. Now, how do you approach continuous learning, and what resources would you recommend for someone who's looking to enhance their skills in Salesforce?
Yeah, I am a course junkie. Okay. There are so many courses out there. I mean, the problem is finishing the course. I'm great at buying them and starting them, but finishing is always a struggle. I know people are always trying to get their next cert or whatever, but I personally try to focus on the present, like whatever I'm working on now. That's what I decide to enhance my learning skills on. So Scrum Master now, I took a bunch of courses. I think I'm in the middle of Google's project management course. They were giving it out for free, so I'm doing that. But just focus on getting better at what you're doing now. And I mean, if you want to be strategic and you know exactly where you want to go in the future, I'd say use that. But there's so many great courses out there, and of course Trailhead.
Yes, no, that was a good point, Anita, because yes, people can be overwhelmed when they have a lot of courses coming in and, not sure as to where to start and how to gather all the skills that are required for them in this career. That's true. And of course, a professional, as you are a certified Salesforce professional, what advice would you have for individuals starting their career off in Salesforce?
Yeah, don't be scared. There are so many of us who started in Salesforce from completely different careers. I know so many people thriving now who are stay-at-home moms, teachers, nurses, so much. And just there's a hashtag, always be learning. I can't remember the origin. It might be Stephanie Herrera, who originally created that term. But I mean, it is overwhelming when you first get into the ecosystem. You think, oh my God, there's so much information out there. How do I learn it all? You don't need to. I remember being on a call with the architect on there. He's like, yeah, that's not my specialty. I don't know anything about that. It's okay if you don't know. You can always research later, but no one expects you to know every single thing.
True.
Yeah.
That's true. Baby steps, I guess. And I think your example, moving from the hospitality sector to Salesforce itself is an inspiration for a lot of people looking to change their careers. That's true. So how do you see the future of Salesforce evolving, and what trends do you think would come into the picture with Salesforce? Every quarter we see a lot of things coming up in Salesforce. So what are your views on this?
Don't know if you heard about AI.
Oh, yes. It's taking over the world.
Yeah, I went to Dreamforce for the first time this year, and it was just all AI.
I know. That's true.
Yeah. I think the focus will be on that. But I mean, in order to even leverage it really well in your org, you have to clean up the data. If you have garbage in, garbage out, all you admins out there who didn't add descriptions to all your custom objects and stuff, you better do that. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that's true. I mean, AI is certainly the way to go, and that is the future. I'm sure that Salesforce is going to be utilizing it to the max. And thank you for your thoughts on that, Anita. And so these were the few important questions that I did have for you, and that this information that you shared with us is going to be very important and it's inspiration for a lot of people out there. Thank you, Anita. I think that brings us to the end of the questions. I think I had a good time. I hope you did also. And I'm excited to see how this podcast comes out to the larger audience.
Yeah, again, thanks for having me on. This was a lot of fun.